Hey everybody, this is the Techno Funk Boy. I just started last night. I just started replaying Baldur's Gate. So this is the edition on Steam. This is the expanded edition. I hadn't played this before. What I got? What I have is the original 5 disc set of Baldur's Gate that it won't even work on my system anymore. You can see they even put an extra space in here for the expansion, which I didn't get at the time. Now I have the expanded edition, and it's got all of the cool latest and greatest, and I just started it again, and this is a game that I've just really loved. When I first got it, it was just an absolute blast. We did an episode of the Retro Zoo Super Show on Baldur's Gate. It is one of literally my all-time favorite games. But in pulling out all my stuff, because I went on a hunt when I bought the game, I went on a hunt for all my stuff because I was obsessed with this game. I even bought and read both of the Baldur's Gate's novels, the ones that were made from the game, and I don't actually remember liking either one of them. And I can't actually; those are the things I can't find. Everything else that I know I had, I found, and one of them was this. This is the official strategy guide. And this looks very promising. It's like the first thing you see, and you're looking at the back, is a nice color map of the part of the Sword Coast that we're in. And so that's a lot of fun. I like the design on the pages. It's got these kind of side things set off, and it's got a cool design. It has segments here with written notes. These are just the notes from the game, and so they're not really adding all that much. But at the same time, it is something that breaks up the page. It makes it look interesting, and in a lot of these strategy guides, the more graphics there are, usually the better, the more helpful it is, because it provides some maps, it provides some context from where you are. And in looking at this again, I remember just how terrible this book is. And I think for people who are, grew up, playing the games in the 90s going into the 2000s, when the strategy guide was really at its height. The games were small and linear enough that you could feasibly do strategy guides. Some of these open world books they're just so dense as to all the stuff that you can do, and it's a lot harder to actually do a comprehensive guide to these things. But for those of us who grew up in this age, and especially who did role-playing games a lot and got a lot of these, and I have a lot. They're actually sitting above me right over here. I got a lot of strategy guides from the Super Nintendo through the PlayStation era, and it was always really a gamble as to how actually useful this thing was going to be. And this is one of the ones that just is not that useful. And so the first thing we see on it is section 1 is really the instruction manual. It's like, hey, what do we click to climb stairs? Literally, it's like, here's what the attack cursor looks like right there. And there always seems to be that kind of, at least small sections, kind of a get you started section in these books. But this one is 54 pages long. It's literally a fourth of the book is just reprinting this, which is the game manual. Except this one, I mean, it almost literally has the same information. It's just, different kind of color and different setup. And so it's like, okay, well, that's not really all that helpful. So what they decided to do in section 2 was that Baldur's Gate really is so character driven, and you can play it in multiple different ways as characters. And I remember actually reading the novel, and the hero in the novel was played so much differently than my lawful good paladin that I played the game as. That it was really a shock. That it's the same quest but a different approach to them. And you really can play the game in several different ways. So what they tried to do in this book is to actually do the strategy guide as though it's the quest of a particular character. In this case, it's Diana's quest. So they proceed to write in these journal entries what's going on. And this is where you find this information in the journal entries. Now, for those who played Baldur's Gate, you're familiar with the journal, right? Because you have a journal and you keep notes on it. And some of them are absolutely hysterical. And excuse me. And so it's like, clearly this got inspiration from this, but it's labeled, if you can see it, as day 1, hour 7, and then the date. And this continues, This is right at the top of this page. It's day 5, hour 12. This is not overly helpful, because I might be stuck on something, and it's like, and I don't think any of us really read strategy guide as like a book, right? I mean, you might flip through and you're like, hey, look, there's some pretty maps, but I don't think any of us really approach it like a book. And I certainly don't. And so it's normally like when I just get stuck on something, and it's like, I'm starting to get frustrated with the game. So let me look into this. And in this case, it's like nearly impossible to actually find what you're looking for. It's like, hey, I've got this quest, and I don't know where to find this ogre. Where is it? And you can just keep flipping through, and all you're seeing are these day 1, day 6, day 3. Well, my days are different than her, than Diana's. And so this becomes exceedingly difficult to use, which is the exact opposite of that you want from a strategy guide. The fact that these images are in black and white actually doesn't help, because it's really hard to see what's in it, but it's also hard to immediately recognize things. And so when you can find the information is accurate, and helpful. When you can find the map that you're looking for, that map is good and helpful and useful. It's just finding it that's the difficult part. So we get to section 3 of this book, and this is by far the most actually helpful part of the book. So these are the subplots, and so they're sectioned off into what part of the game you're going to find it. And so it tells you all of the quest characters or the NPCs that are going to possibly join your party, and it tells you what they want and what to do about it. Now the maps are in the previous section, so this section is not totally useful, but it's certainly a lot more useful than than the prior sections of the book. And this gets us into section 5, and again, more of a useful section. That's breaking up the game, not as much of a narrative, but specifically it's like, hey, where are you? What are you trying to do? What do you need to do? And so if you're stuck somewhere, you can, okay, all right, I'm in chapter 1. Okay, what must I do to get through chapter 1? And things that I can also do. And so here are the main story quest and the side plots. This is actually exceedingly helpful. And this also has maps. And so the last half of the book is actually pretty darn useful. It's just weeding through the rest of it that just gets really kind of irritating. There's another section that's just it's called the secrets, and it really just seems to be like a quick reference to, it's like, hey, are you looking for this ogre to complete Unshay's quest? This is the area where he's in, and that's where you get that. Okay, so here in Appendix A, we get some actually really useful information on creating just a really great character. Now what I created was a sorcerer, and I don't think the original game even had that option, and I don't see it here, but this is a game where you have kind of a points buy system, but you can keep rolling. You can keep rolling your initial stats, and it will actually tell you at the bottom of the screen what the total number of your stats are. And so you can roll that until you get into like the high 80s or in the low 90s, and then you can just move your stats around wherever you want them. And it's just it's really easy to min-max your character in this game. It's ridiculous. I re-rolled a few times, and I think I ended up with like an 89 or a 90 or something. And so it was like, all but one of my stats were like, 14 plus. My intelligence was 18. A couple of my other stats were 17s. It was just kind of ridiculous. That's very easy to do in this game. And so you can use that in a combination with this guide to really kind of deck out your character to be as strong as possible. I remember playing it in college, that you really needed it as strong as humanly possible to beat the game. But I had not played really any Dungeons and Dragons by that point. I didn't know how to play Dungeons and Dragons, and so I was really kind of trying to play it like a Final Fantasy game, which doesn't work. And so I'm having a lot of fun this time, not trying to Final Fantasy this experience, but to take what I've learned about Dungeons and Dragons and apply it. Now, this game is AD&D 2nd edition, so this is not 5th edition. This isn't even 3rd. All right, and all of the punishing elements of AD&D are in there. Now the new edition, and I don't remember the original doing this. The new edition has a way to adjust the difficulty, and they do that by messing with enemy stats. And so you can make it so that none of your characters can permanently die. Which is a problem in the original game. It's like all of a sudden, they would just chop one of the characters to pieces and he's gone forever. And when it was Khalid, that was fine. When it was Jaheira, then we freaked out and reset. But and then it could also be like, that their hit points are 25% lower or 50% lower in their or you can really amp it up so that your THAC goes higher and makes it just really, really difficult. But so yeah, I'm kind of walking my way through the game again, and I'm just having a blast with it. And I got to a little bit of a trip down memory lane with these books and kind of picking through them, and so that's been great. So I appreciate you watching. We're going to continue to do some kind of in between little smaller topics. If you are listening on the podcast, we're actually videoing these, and so these are on our YouTube. They're also on our Facebook, and so I hope that you would join us there to kind of interact and be happy to answer any questions, field any comments, or whatever you'd like over there. In the meantime, I really do appreciate you watching or listening, and we will catch you another time.